1 Kings 19:4, we see Elijah, and he's underneath a broom tree, and he's longing to die. How could such a great prophet of God be so depressed? Bob Russell gives 3 reasons why he shouldn't be. Because Elijah is a godly prophet who just stood up to King Ahab, the wicked king. And he's also a powerful miracle worker because he was able to raise the son of the widow from the dead. And he's also a courageous leader because he was able to pray, and God called down fire from heaven to show that God was the one true God. But here, the next day, after this mountaintop experience, we see Elijah, who is fleeing for his life because the evil queen Jezebel has vowed to kill him. So here we find him, and he is exhausted, and he's afraid, and he's alone. Doesn't that sound like the way we feel sometimes? Can't we relate to Elijah? So let's see what God does to transform his depression into joy. See, the first thing God doesn't do is God doesn't chastise him. Instead, God takes care of his physical needs. God sends an angel, and he says, get up and eat. Because God knows that Elijah is no match for depression if he is not rested and refreshed. Second thing he does is he takes care of Elijah's spiritual needs. Because one of the reasons why Elijah was so depressed was because he took his eyes off of God and he put them on himself. So God uses a tornado and an earthquake and fire to be able to show his power so that Elijah can hear that still small voice. And then God is able to help Elijah and take care of his relational needs. You see, Elijah thinks he is alone, but God is able to show him that there are 7,000 Israelites ready to stand beside him. And after all of that, then God offers him a new challenge. He doesn't take the threat of Jezebel away. However, what he does is he says, you go back the way you came, and you anoint new kings, and then you anoint your successor, Elisha. And Elisha becomes a great friend of Elijah. So what about you? What new challenge does God have in your life that will take you from depressed to joy? Maybe he wants you to load up the grandkids and take them away for the weekend. Maybe he wants you to go to a coworker and invite them to lunch and spend time with them doing a weekly devotion. Or maybe he wants you to take some balloons and some flowers to a nursing home and help those who may feel alone because you're visiting with them. You see, when we serve others, God's able to take care of our physical and our spiritual and our relational needs. So think about the challenge that God has for you. What new challenge is it for your life that's going to transform your depression into joy? Now, it's not going to be easy because you see, Jesus came because he needs to give us rest. Jesus came because he removed the sin that separated us from God. And Jesus came to know, so that we would know that we're not alone. We have a God who loves us, and we're surrounded by his children. So what new challenge does God have for you? You see, Satan knows that he cannot take our salvation. So then he tries another route. He tries to steal your joy. So don't let him steal your joy. We need to fight for joy. So during this communion time, remember the reason for our joy is because Jesus came. Because Jesus came so that we may live. Let's remember that sacrifice as we go to communion this morning.